Yes, we're going to look at the thematic causes of the First World War. So that's one that we're going to look at, the thematic causes. And then after we look at the thematic causes, we're gonna look at writing for Caribbean, writing for Cape history, which is the same thing as writing for Caribbean studies. Then we're going to go through some past paper question on the causes of the First World War. In the Google Classroom, you'll realize where it is. Share screen. For the Google Classroom, for Tuesday's class, you have quite a lot of activity to do on Tuesday. So we're not having a Zoom class. So, but you have asynchronous activity, quite a lot of stuff to do on Tuesday. And so for Tuesday's class, you are going to, the first thing is that you're gonna, instructions. So the first thing is that you're going to create a timeline for the First World War using PowerPoint, and you're going to upload that to the Google Classroom, to this section, which is First World War timeline. So that is one of the activity that you have on Tuesday to do. And most of you already do the timeline already because I've seen it in your presentation. It is just for you to do it individually and add other dates to it. And then the next thing that, ladies, which is the major thing that you have to do on Tuesday, is that you're going to read the text, First World War by J. Merriman. And this text is a very important text to read because this is where they give you the document-based questions from. Now, you're going to click this link. And when you click the link, you're going to see quite a lot of materials in there on the First World War. You're going to go to First World War, J. Merriman, click, and you're going to read this chapter. Read the chapter, make the notes. I know some of it is not so clear, but go through the entire chapter, read it, make notes on Friday, not Friday, on Tuesday. Now, after you finish read that chapter on Tuesday, the next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to open the quiz and you're going to answer the questions on the quiz. And the quiz has 19 questions, right? So that is what you're going to do on Tuesday. So you have two activities on Tuesday. Timeline to do. And then once you're through with your timeline, then you're going to read. And in fact, I believe that you should read first before you submit the timeline. So do the first activity and then you do the next one. So that is for Tuesday's class. If you look on it, you see that it is due, I put that it is due on the 30th. So you have up until the 30th to produce all of this here. All right. Then it's Friday. For Friday's class, we are going to go through to the course of the war, where we're going to look at the practice, what happened, and all of these different stuff. So that is our schedule for the week. Is the schedule clear, ladies? Hello, am I speaking to myself?
Yes, sir. It's clear. Sir, it's clear. But one quick question. For
Go
the
ahead.
timeline, is it supposed to be just like straightforward, so you have this year that happened, or it's supposed to be in detail, or can it be like the ones that we had in our presentation?
Yeah, just like the one in your presentation. You don't have to let it be detailed.
Okay.
You need to know what event happened. So let us show you a timeline that I did. I don't have it here. All right. So I did a timeline recently on the history of special education. So let us show you that timeline. Here. Please. I'm going to show you a timeline that I did. Ladies, are you seeing the screen?
Yes, sir.
So I
Yes, sir.
have a history of special education timeline. You put your subject, you put the name, you put the stuff, and then after that now, you have the different times. So the year, what happened this time, this, the date, because obviously you're going to have exact date, like the 1st of August, 1914, what happened, and you do it. And then also, we call it now, the, what they call that again? The PowerPoint. When you're doing the PowerPoint, it has different ways in which you can create the timeline and have an actual line on it and show the different events. I see most of you did it already, so the only thing is that you're going to need additional dates on it. All right, ladies? So that covers our timeline. And let I go now to the important matter, which is I'm using my wife's computer because she's at school, so things is a little better now. All right. All right, ladies. So what we have been doing for the last 2 weeks, last week and this week, we started from the week before, about 2.5 weeks. Well, 2 weeks. We have been looking at the causes of the second. Is it that it's recording, ladies?
Yes, sir. It's recording.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for the last 2 weeks, what we have been doing is the causes of the First World War. So we look at the long-term causes. Then we went ahead and we look at the short-term causes, things that happen in the immediate, the long-term things that were boiling in the background for a very long time. And then we're going to look at the thematic causes, right? So when we are talking about the thematic causes, many historians like to put things in themes. Say, for instance, you go into the exam and they said that they discuss the economic reasons were the cause of the First World War. You could say it's not only economic, it's also political, it's ideological, it's also territorial, right? So we have, these are the different causes, so we put them under themes. So when you are writing your essays for the First World War, there are several different ways in which you can put your points together. In fact, you could start to discuss the long-term causes, and you also discuss the short-term causes, or you could look at it from a thematic perspective. So you could say there are several different reasons that led to this First World War. There were economic reasons, they discussed economic reasons, there were political reasons, there were ideological reasons, there were territorial reasons for the First World War, right? So it depends on how you want to answer the question. In fact, that is the liberty that you have to decide how you answer the question. Now, what do I favor? If I was answering a question on the causes, I would use the long-term causes, and then I would also discuss the short-term causes. That is how I would do it. But you might want to say that you are going to look at it from the thematic causes, what led to it from a thematic perspective. Now, what were some of the economic issues with the First World War? And these are things that we would have looked at already. Many analyses that should be analysis, sorry. Many analysis of the war argues, many analyzes the war that the reason for the war was for economic reasons. Some people blame it and say economic reasons. So a political person and a historian by the name of Vladimir Lenin, he argues that European countries fought for market and resources, and that was a reason for the First World War. Thematic reasons. What are some examples, right? He mentioned that great powers of Europe were expanding in the 19th century. Britain and France went to war over North Africa, which is the Morocco crisis. Russia and Britain were rival over northwest frontier in India. Germany wanted imperial expansion, right? And the economic decline of Austria-Hungary, so they wanted to take over the Balkan area. Russia and France fought over Alsace-Lorraine. Then you have the Yugo-Japan, Russia and Japan fought over area of the Manchuria. So economic reasons led to the war. Now, if you are discussing the economic reason, if you're putting it from that perspective in the essay, to say that economic reasons led to the First World War, you need to provide the evidence of the economic conflicts over trade and over resources. Is that clear, ladies?
Yes, sir.
Good. So you need to provide, it can't just come and write and say economic reasons were the cause of the First World War, and you don't explain. You have to say why they were economic issues. What were the issues over? Market, why they wanted market, why they wanted to trade. Examples. So leading up to the war, and we can see that there was a lot of conflict over economic issues, right? Now, if we're going to evaluate the economic issues, We can say imperial ambition do not explain the conflict in the Balkan area, because most of the conflict in the Balkan area was really not economic, yes, but is really to access trade. So that is also debatable. Quite a lot of debate going on there. So we can look at the economic as another issue. But some people would say that the reason for certain area was not really because of economic, but because they wanted more land, territorial conflict. And we have the perfect example of territorial conflict where we have Alsace-Lorraine between Russia and France. And that area actually has a lot of metal, all right, there. And so they wanted it to help with building their railway station and building trains and all of these machines and all of these different stuff. Other territorial conflicts over Austria-Hungary wanted to annex, well, they annexed Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the conflict over why Serbia and the Balkan League was against that annexation. Then you also had the Morocco crisis between Britain and France. In Britain and France, they were fighting over North Africa, the Morocco crisis. So we have example of economic, and we have also have example of the territorial. Now, another issue that we talk about is political. So there were political reasons. What were the political reasons? There was a mass support for war in the growing nationalism, especially in the Balkan area. Russian supports for fellow Slavs were strong, strongly. What I write here? The Russians supported their fellow Slavs, right? Because most of them were from the Slavic people, while those from Austria-Hungary were Germanic also tribe. Britain feared isolation if she did not support France. She feared that people would isolate her. And the whole issue about alliances, how they joined the different alliances and all the different alliances that would have taken place during this period. Then, so these are all the different stuff that we can look under political, diplomacy, why they signed alliances, why they signed treaties, why they joined alliances against each other, and military reasons. You could say that the war was for military reasons. You could talk about Germany's plan that they had, the Schifflin plan, and other countries had other plan. What was this plan about? This plan was basically saying that Germany could they are going to invade France by taking over Belgium. So they go to Belgium first, and then they're going to take over France. That was their plan. What other military plan? How was Europe militarized during this period? And so you can discuss it from a military perspective, right? So these are the different thematic causes. We would have gone through most of these already. Now, look at this. And I want you to explain. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And you are going to, in your notebook, decide for yourself the order of importance for the general causes and explain your reasons for each. So which one you think is the most important? So you're going to put if it is economic 1, or political 2, or political, well, balance, power of balance or nationalism or alliances, or is it because of military issues or other issues? How do you rank them? Rank them from 1 to 4 and tell me the reason why you rank them. So that's what I'm going to give you to do for 10 minutes. Or is it that you want me to put you into breakout rooms and you do it for the 10 minutes?
Yes, sir.
All right. So how we do the breakout? The breakout rooms assigned manually. How many groups we have again in the class? 6? How many groups?
Six, sir. 6.
6 groups. All right, who is in group 1?
Dijane and me.
We're not group 1 though, we're like group 3.
Oh, Michael and Dijane was group 1, and me and Dijane group 2. Group 3.
1 second. Who is group 1?
Michael and Dinami Williams.
All right, so they are group 1. Group 2.
Shane and Dijane.
So you are group 2. All right, group 3. Who was in group 3? Group 3?
I think it was Gabriel and Mrs. Sakima.
But wait, Shane, nobody don't know which group they were in? McCoy, who you were in group with?
Sir, group 3 is me, Savannah Ray, and Kali.
And who?
Kali.
And Eccleston. I'm going to put Eccleston, Davis, and Marshall in one group. All right, so I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and you're going to decide. Take a screenshot of it because you have the PowerPoint already, and you decide. Please take a screenshot now, because when you go into the breakout rooms, you're not going to be able to see it. So I create 4 groups. And matter of importance, which one you think it is the main reason, right? More important that led to it. If you want to say it was the killing of Dave, you decide. It's up to you. All right?
Hello, Savannah.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm trying to put you in the group. You know, somehow it's not allowing me to add you to the group. You see the other groups, or you only can see?
When I first breakout rooms, it just says join the one I was assigned to.
Hmm. All right. It's not allowing me to add you to one of the other groups. So just work on it by yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, before you say I put nothing in the kitchen, I beg you.
All right. Williams and Lewis. How would you rank it?
Excuse me, sir. My apologies. Savannah just called me to say that she's having really bad Wi-Fi issues. So even when she was in class, she couldn't hear you because you were breaking up really badly. So she's trying to explain to you that yeah, she's having some internet issue.
All right.
Okay, so where is Williams? Williams! Not Williams gone. Okay, sir. So while we're in the breakout room, we discussed that we feel as though political alliances and the ententes would have been the main cause, and our evidence or reason behind that choice is because of the alliances. It's what really prompted it or caused it to turn into a total war or a world war. Because of these alliances, it forced the nations to join the war. For example, Russia joined the war on behalf of Serbia to support them because of the alliance which they had with Serbia, and same followed to Britain and France. And Britain felt it was their duty because of this alliance to join the war. Italy, though their alliance did not state they had to go in on war terms or defense, they still ended up joining the war. And so we feel as though if it was not for these alliances, then these countries would not have feel so been so compelled to fight on behalf of these nations. And who knows, it may have just been a limited war between Austria and Serbia, and it wouldn't have blown into the proportion or what we know today as the World War. But we believe it's because of these alliances that really caused these countries to have to put their foot forward and step out into the war to represent. Following alliances, we then said that nationalism, again on the political reason, would have been a main cause for the World War, because not only, yes, they were tied to these alliances to join the war with these other countries, but as well as the strive for one's nation and being proud. And we talked about it and looked at the Russia and where Russia decided to mobilize their forces. And Shanae spoke about Nicholas Tsar, I believe that's his name, and how he felt humiliated because he had previously lost the war.
It's Tsar Nicholas.
Tsar Nicholas, yes, sorry. How he had felt humiliated on behalf of Russia and felt the need to prove himself. So he didn't blink twice about mobilizing the army for this war. So nationalism played such an important part in these countries, feeling the need to prove themselves, because they battled for 4 years trying to get a winner or for someone to come out victorious in this war. Next on the list going down, we said that political again, but with power balance, and that the fight, though it was doing the research, especially when we got the question why it was that Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, it really seemed as a power thing that Austria-Hungary tried to prove themselves, because as Dina and I were discussing in the break rooms, when it is that you look at it, the ultimatum in which Austria gave Hungary, excuse me, sir, give me a second. I can't right now, just give me a second, I'm in class. Yes, when you looked at the power balance, Austria, the ultimatum, several historians have claimed that there's no way Serbia could have accepted the ultimatum. I saw a post that said it's compared to as if Serbia was going to sell their soul to Austria-Hungary, because it would have meant them no longer being a nation on their own. And so I really feel as though it was a power play for Austria-Hungary to prove themselves in the scale of power, and for all the other great nations, which is why I believe that at the end of the war, the United States was declared the world power or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, sir. So power play.
Not at this war. The US was declared world power
Second
in
war.
second.
Yeah, the second war. So I do believe that power played an important aspect. So following that one, we had put economics at the bottom. And our reasoning for putting economics on the bottom is because though we know that it was something that was very important to these countries, as you know, we talked about having the landlocked, and we talked about how important it was for them to harvest these regions near to the ocean, near to the sea, and for different resources. We talked about the scramble for Africa, for them to collect these resources. My reasoning, my evidence would be that these are things that was happening for years. When we look at imperial rivalry, there always has been these conflicts, but it wasn't necessarily, as you said, it was a long-term cause. It wasn't necessarily the root and really what started the war. Yes, it wasn't the trigger, but we don't think it was as instrumental as the other ones you discussed earlier, because these were, wars they were fighting with each other for land years back, and it never escalated into the world wars. So we don't believe it was the main reason. Granted, it does hold some ground, but just not the main reason.
All right, good, very good. Thanks for that. Dijane and Shani.
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So first of all, excuse me, Dijane.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so me are gonna do the first three and you the last three, yeah?
Okay.
Which one you think is your rank one?
We rank political balance power.
All right, explain it.
Because we thought that each country was fighting at the time, fighting for land, and that was the main cause of the war. Because Russia wanted the to be able to transport their ships in the Black Sea and also the Mediterranean.
From the Black Sea to the Mediterranean.
Yes, and that's a part of power. They wanted to control that, but Austria had all the territory that were close to the sea. That were close to the sea. So and then that disagreement grievance started to carry, and then the Serbs wanted the H word, the place that
Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yes. The Serbs thought that Yes, so that was the power. Second, sorry. Secondly,
You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
okay. Secondly, nationalism. We thought that nationalism had played a very important role in the World War One because the Serbs, like when first of all, you have to be a nationalist, if that's the word, to kill
Yes.
an archduke and his wife. Because who are gonna kill somebody for God jail for the rest of their life for them country? So I thought that is very important in the role of nationalism.
Yes.
So that would be second.
Mm-hmm.
Thirdly, we have closed alliances and entree, I think, because this will be very important as well, like really important in the World War, because when the country when Russia entered the war with Austria-Hungary and Germany, the alliances that France the alliances that Russia had with France and Britain, they had to get involved in the war. So that was very important in the beginning of the war. Handing over to Dijane.
Okay, so third, fourth, we had economic. Why we put economic for? One of the things that Ashane said, we thought power and it's more like of a nationalist war, as in persons were more concerned about being the greatest power in Europe other than from the economy. Yes, there were economic um um causes as it relates to acquiring land, some no, I think Britain, yes. So most like Britain and other European nations, they wanted to acquire land. So land equal farming and capital and everything. So we put economic for it. And another thing, when during the war, each person, no, embargoes were sanctioned on other nations and their alliances. Like, for example, say for instance, Britain, and you have the Caribbean. So like the Caribbean, because the British Caribbean, some of the countries couldn't because of the war, some of the countries couldn't like trade with other countries in Europe. So that could that's why we put economic for it. And fifth, the miscalculation by statement, that was shown when US entered the war, the I think I don't remember the name, is the Z something another telegram, made US enter the war, and different what do I call it now? Different what do I call it now? Different rumors were going around about people and not people, about different governments, and so the politicians and the authorities over the country misinterpret some of those stuff. So we put that at fifth. And sixth would be other causes, like the short-term causes, like when the assassination of the Duke, even though it was a very instrumental cause, but this war was like bubbling up before, so that's like just to just strike it open. So yes, so we put that last.
All right, sounds good. Eccleston and Davis and Marshall.
Okay, so for the first one, we put economic because we know that there was like a lot of, they were really trying to execute their like imperial goals in terms of like being able to control areas so that they could better get resources and have better markets. Examples being the Russo-Japanese War for Manchuria and Alsace-Lorraine between France and Germany, where they were both trying to control these areas so they could better have access to their raw materials so they could make their goods and have a better open market. And then after that, we put power balance because we know that Germany was an up and coming new empire, and Kaiser Wilhelm II wanted Germany to be a force to be reckoned with. So they were really trying to like get into the game of imperializing and getting more land and stretching their control in order to build empire. And Britain was already ahead of them in that they had a lot of colonies there. They had basically an open market because of how many colonies they had. So with them coming up, they were kind of tilting the balance a bit. And that was something that kind of scared Britain because they did not want to shift that power. They believed that they should be like on top. So when Germany started coming up, that became an issue. The third thing we put was the alliances, because we saw this in the Moroccan crisis where Germany wanted control of Morocco, and once that bothered the UK, France stepped in. So once these countries realized that like Germany was up and coming, or other countries were trying to like step onto their territories, or potentially that there was going to be a war of any kind, they immediately allianced up. They did it for the best possible reason. They're just like, well, I don't want to put myself at risk, so I am going to form an alliance in case something should go wrong, that I have this other country to back me up on this, so that I can like eliminate the threat as quickly as possible. So the next thing we put was miscalculation. The main example we have for this is the Shiflin plan. Had Germany not put Belgium on the route as if they needed to invade them, had they worked around it and not invaded Belgium, Britain would not have gotten involved, and Britain would have gotten involved whatsoever and would not have needed to declare war on Germany. So without Britain not being in the fight, it would have been a lot less, because then with Britain joining, obviously France and Russia were always going to fall in, and the world would have started taking sides. And with Britain joining, that means all of her colonies are joining. That's like a lot of the globe entering the fight. The fifth thing we put was other causes, and for us, we believe that other causes could have also been like Moroccan crisis, Bosnian crisis, especially the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand. We considered that to be an other cause that was probably not listed. And I think that the assassination was the last straw, the last immediate straw that really pushed everyone into gear to fight. And the last one we put was nationalism, because we believe that when it came to nationalism, like, yes, people are proud to be a part of their country. And Shanae did make a good point about going hard for a country and be willing to like go to prison by killing Ferdinand. But we believe that when it came to nationalism, it was more of the argument of the government trying to get people on board with this war, trying to be like, hey, this war is a good thing, spreading propaganda saying, fight for your country, it's the right thing to do, prove your loyalty to our country. So that's how we saw it.
All right, very good. McCoy?
Okay, first I put political alliances and entente. I put that because depending on what alliance somebody was in, like if two countries are having a dispute, then your country may have to join to support whichever country in alliances. So when all these conflicts and disputes are happening, different countries are joining to defend each other, and so that just turn it into a full-blown war. Next up, economic, because most of the feuds that these countries were having were over different resources and colonies and to get land. For example, how Germany took Alsace-Lorraine from France, which led to many people in France having like bad thoughts about Germany, and that affected how they viewed Germany up to the World War I. Next up, power balance, because all the countries want to be the dominating power in Europe. They want to show that your country is the best, and you may take something from another country, something bad to another country, so you can continue advancing yourself, which led to many feuds. Then you had nationalism. All these countries think we're the best, and so you're going to want your country to keep advancing and keep going up. Like one of the reasons why Germany even wanted a war to happen is because they wanted to become a dominating power. And if we have this war and we are on the winning side of the war, then we'll be on the top in the war. The miscalculation would be fifth because when Germany wanted this war to happen, they didn't know Britain would join the war. And maybe if the leaders in Germany knew Britain would have joined, they wouldn't have been so eager for this war to happen, and they probably would have stepped back. Then other causes could be military, like the shifting plan, that Germany had that war plan, but whether or not they had the plan, the war would have still happened.
All right. Very good, very good. I like the discussion, ladies. Let us look at some debate between Fisher and Ritter. So somebody read what Fisher has to fix. Fisher has to argue. Somebody read it for me.
Germany had plans for a war before the crisis of 1914 and used the assassination of Ferdinand as an excuse to put them into practice.
All right, continue.
There was a general aim to make Germany a dominant world power, as well more specific aims produced by the Chancellor Theobald Bethmann Hollweg for annexation of Belgium, part of France and European Russia.
Good. Let us hear what Fisher has to say more.
Fisher, domestic pressure for expansion. Germany deliberately encouraged Austrian war plan to provoke a crisis in which it could solve the problem of encirclement by Russia and France, dominate Europe and expand its territory.
All right. So Fisher is blaming who for the First World War?
Germany.
Germany, because Fisher said Germany already had a war plan, which is the shifting plan, and they was just waiting for the, they use the assassination of the King Ferdinand as an excuse to go straight into war to put the plan into practice. And they basically encourage war because they wanted land. They wanted to take over Belgium. They wanted part of France. They wanted part of Russia. So guess what? Germany is the one that should be blamed for the war. Let us hear what Gerhard Richter has to say. Somebody else read for me.
Gerhard Richter. Germany was mainly motivated by the desire to keep Austria as a great power and to prevent Russia dominating the Balkans. Austria was determined on a risky war and pulled in Germany. There was no long-term plan, but rather respond to the particular crisis of Russian mobilization.
Continue.
Germany miscalculated, expecting that support for Austria would not mean war, as other nations would be appalled by the murder of their heir to the throne. Military necessity was more important. There were plans to meet the threat from Russia, which involved war on France. Once Russia seemed the intent on war, then those plans had to be implemented.
All right. So Richard is arguing here, ladies, that listen, Germany, you can't blame Germany for the war. You can't blame Germany. Fisher is saying Germany should be blamed. Richard is saying Germany should not be blamed because if anybody, any of you European countries, if they kill one of you here to the throne, then you'd go to war. And Germany's main aim was not because they were selfish, but because they wanted to keep Austria-Hungary in power. So don't try to say that Germany is the one who is responsible for the war. Germany, it should not be blamed entirely for the war. Everybody else should be blamed because that is what it is. They are just trying to support Austria-Hungary for them to remain in power. What is your take on it? I'm going down. It is Fisher or Ritter. Bowes.
Sir, I agree with Ritter.
You agree? All right.
Yes.
Go ahead. If you want to explain, go ahead.
In the sense that Germany shouldn't be blamed. All the blame not supposed to be on Germany because it takes two for tango, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
And it wasn't Germany alone in the war. Every other major superpower at the time were also in the war. So everybody should take blame for the war. Russia, Germany, everybody should be equally blamed for the war. Because if everyone, if at least one of them did come out of the war and say, no, this is wrong, and then in them influence everybody to stop, yeah. But everybody choose to carry on and destroy the world. So it's not Germany alone.
All right, good. McCoy? Fisher or Ritter?
Fisher, because there's, well, Ritter, because there are some things that you can blame Germany for. But Germany isn't the only country that was doing stuff and getting conflict with people. And there are other countries that had their problems that without Germany would have probably let down.
All right, sounds good. Williams? Fisher or Ritter?
Sir Ritter.
All right. Go ahead.
I think that like Germany was supporting Austria, same as how Russia supported Serbia. So I don't think that, and then after everybody jump in and start supporting who they're supporting. So I don't think it should just be it can't just be Germany who's responsible, because everybody was supporting their sides. So why is it that Germany supporting their side means that it's their fault? I don't think
All right. Sounds good. Dijonay? Eccleston?
Sir, I think, I don't know, I'm in between because I think honestly, I don't feel like many of the countries would have joined in the war if Germany never provoked them in the first place. So my take is that I think Germany, well, then again, I agree with what everybody was, what Shani was saying, like it takes two for fights. But at the same time, I feel like Germany has been provoking the many of the powers. Like Britain would have joined if Germany never invaded Belgium. France would not have joined the war if from before had Germany was not provoking them in terms of the American crisis. Like, so I feel like in some sense Germany holds majority of the blame, but should not take the full blame for the war.
All right, fair take on it. Marshall?
Yeah, I have to agree with DJ on with Gajala on that, because it's just like, yeah, Germany did have a plan in case a war broke out because they were supporting Austria-Hungary because of like how they wanted things to play out. But Germany also did have a history of like being like going toe to toe with a lot of these other major powers in terms of fighting over land or just like supporting another country. So Germany might be mostly responsible, but they're not completely responsible because other countries did join in to the war. So they're not like the only person. So I'm kind of in between because Germany does deserve somewhat of like a good portion of the blame, but not all of it, because you do need other people to have a war. You can't just be one person alone. So I'm I'm either or. I'm kind of stuck in the middle.
Sounds good. Fair enough. Davis, Gabriel.
I'm kind of leaning more towards Ritter, but at the same time, Germany was kind of power hungry. But at the same time, you don't have a war unless more people come in and start fighting. So I believe that it could have been stopped. Like Britain could have tried to a little more to make peace instead of declaring war. And so I could think this could have been prevented if they kind of tried to reason out a bit more. But I'm not putting all the blame on anybody because, as Shanice said, it takes two to tango.
All right. Louis?
Sir, I'm neutral because I can understand both sides because yes, Germany were the ones who edged Austria on to go to war. But at the end of the day, as everyone was saying, if it was, for example, if it was Serbia who was put in the position, Russia, being their ally, probably would, probably done the same thing because at the end of the day, they're all power hungry and they're all fighting for territories. So I really can't blame Germany because they were just doing what they thought was, what they knew, which was, to get territories, etc., etc. So I'm leaning more towards Ritter in the fact that Germany can't be the only country blamed because Germany did not go out and fight with themselves. So yeah, that's my stance.
All right, sounds fair enough. Let us continue.
Sir,
Somebody.
do mine.
No, I called you. I didn't hear.
Oh, I thought you said Davis, the other Davis.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would say that I blame more of the alliances themselves because why would I say that? I know Germany made a war plan and everything, and I would kind of little bit blame Germany, but then I blame like the alliances because like even though it's an alliance, it's like oh my god, they could have like have look mine of your own to say. So like that not right and this not right. But then again, that would have caused a next problem or a next war. Another thing is that, as Michael said with Britain, no, not Michael, Gabriel said with Britain, they could have done better, like saying like not declaring a war. But since everyone was like, everyone seemed like they really wanted the war, because of how they like just start the war just quick. So everybody just come like them did want the war. So everybody have them 2 cents in the war.
Very good, very good. I like that. Sonny, could you read this for me, please? Eccleston? Eccleston is not here. Somebody else could read it. Marshall.
Theories of causes. Beginning with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, Dr. Anika Mombor explores the opposing debates about the origins of World War I. Is it possible for historians to arrive at a consensus?
All right, let us continue. Continue for me.
Germany blamed. The first major challenge in this interpretation was advanced in Germany in the 1960s, where the historian Fritz Fischer published a startling new thesis on the origins of the war, which threatened to overthrow the existing consensus. Germany, he argued, bore the main share of the responsibility for the outbreak of the war. Moreover, its leaders had deliberately unleashed the war in pursuit of aggressive foreign policy aims, which were startlingly similar to those pursued by Hitler in 1939.
Go ahead.
Historians have returned to the arguments of the interwar years. focusing, for example, on Russia's and France's role in the outbreak of war. Sean McMeekin, the Russian origins of the First World War, Cambridge, Mass., Belknap Press of Harvard University Press, 2011, IDM, July 1914, Countdown to War, Cambridge, Mass., Belknap Press of Harvard University Press,
All right, you don't have to
2013.
read all of that, but thank you very much, Marshall. So
Okay.
as we see, ladies, there's a debate whether Germany, we know Fisher is the fixed Fisher is the one out there to say, listen, Germany should share the blame. And as Anika said, she said, listen, there's really not a consensus. It is very difficult for historians to have a consensus on it. While others have said, it is not only Germany alone that has played as a role to play, but they also look at the role of Russia and also the role of France in it. So ladies, that's where we're gonna stop today. We are finished with the causes of the First World War. And so you have the assignment to do tomorrow for Tuesday's class. On Friday, because today I wanted to go through how to write essay, but you're tired by now. So on Friday, I'm going to go writing for Cape History, and then I'm going to give you examples of that. And then I'm going to see if next week I do practice and effects. And then next week, we're going to finish First World War. And then we're moving on to the Russian Revolution. All right, ladies, when you see the past paper question, you will determine if you feel like you're comfortable with the causes. All right, ladies, so see you on Friday. And looking forward to those lovely work tomorrow.
Bye, sir.
Bye,
Bye.
sir.